Welcome students! Today I'm going to show you how to make homemade spinach pasta. So come on over here. Now, your recipe, we have of course our homemade spinach, our regular spinach, okay, fresh spinach. Then I went ahead and steamed it and I put it in a blender. Then if you look over here, come on over. We have our dry ingredients. I mixed our salt and our flour, and now I'm going to create a well. So you can see here I'm creating a well. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump this pureed spinach into the well. Okay, go ahead. So you can see I have a well with my dry ingredients and I placed the spinach inside. Now I have my eggs. It calls for 1 whole egg and then an egg yolk. I have separated, you can come over here. It's super close. I have separated the egg yolk and the egg white. I'm going to just toss the egg white and I'm just going to use the egg yolk and I'm going to put it in the middle of the spinach. And then also I'm going to crack my egg, my full egg, and put it in there. Sometimes it's better to crack it into a bowl, separate bowl, and then put it in, because then if you get any eggshells you can put it in the separate bowl. So there I have it. I have a full egg and then 1 egg yolk and then my spinach. So now I'm going to attach this kneading hook, and I'm going to attach it right here. And then you just go ahead and start. And I'm going to put it on like speed 4 or 6 and just keep on going until it combines. When you mix, you may need to use a rubber spatula to incorporate the flour as you go. So as you periodically go, just use your rubber spatula to incorporate all that flour. So it looks like kind of a doughy mess right now, but that's okay. So it's not going to look perfect yet. You're going to need it to look perfect. I have extra flour right here. So I'm going to put it on my countertop, my clean countertop. And I'm going to get my ball of spinach dough. And I'm going to put some flour on my hands. And then I'm going to start kneading. And you're going to, if it gets sticky, just put more flour on that spot or put flour on your hands. And you're just going to keep kneading for about 2 minutes. P.S. For it to get to this point in the KitchenAid, it took about 2 minutes. 1 or 2 minutes. So I'm going to just keep on kneading for about 3 minutes. With pasta, it's different than bread. You don't need to knead as long. You don't have to worry about kneading too long because it's with the gluten, you don't have to worry about it. If it gets kneaded too much, it's fine. So this is one recipe that you don't have to worry about that. So you keep on kneading it until it's like a good ball. And once it's done, and you can move some of this flour out of the way once you get it to a good consistency, because you don't want to add too much flour. Believe it or not, this is your pasta dough. If it's a little bit sticky, you can put a little bit more flour on it, but you should be fine. So this is actually perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this to the side and get ready to get out our pasta machine. Alright, so I've set up my pasta station. You can see this is your machine, your little pasta machine. I've attached it using this little attachment here. And I have the crank outlet facing this way. I've set aside a pan with some parchment paper, and that's where you're going to set your pasta once it's done. And then I also have some flour, just some flour in case I need it. And if you look at my pasta dough, I've separated it into 8 pieces. So I'm going to take 1 piece, and it might be a little bit sticky, that's okay. You're going to have a lot of flour, and this is a messy lab. So, and it's okay if it goes if it's a little bit floury because it's going to be washed off in the water anyway. Okay, so then when you take the pasta machine, you're going to take this crank and you're going to put it to 1. You can see that? Put it to 1, and you always start with 1. And then you're going to take your pasta and just set it right on the top. And then the crank, you're going to go like this. And sometimes it's a little bit sticky, that's okay. And there it is come out. Now you can see it's pretty sticky, so I want to put more flour on it. And that's okay. We can just put more flour on it, like that. Okay? And now it shouldn't give you any more problems. Now I'm going to put it to 2 now. And then I'm going to put it through. Each setting you go higher, the thinner it's going to get. So now it's at 2. Let's go ahead and do it to 3. And for this pasta, the highest I go to usually is 6, maybe 7, but you should be fine at 6. That was 3. If you get a sticky spot, then all you need to do is put some more flour on it. Put it to 4. And it just comes out this other way. There you go. And you can see it's getting bigger and bigger. 5. And so you're going to probably want to use more than one person for this. You can have someone holding the end, someone cranking. You're also going to be making your sauce at this point too. And now it's at 6, and I think this is the last I want to do. If it gets too long, then you can always cut it in half, and that's fine. You don't have to use this long of a piece. In fact, a noodle this long is not going to be that good, so here we go. Oh, now it's... I probably should have put a little bit more flour on that. That's okay, it still works. So I'm going to put a little bit more flour on it now, because that's super... And you know what, if you mess up even, you can always go like this, and you can use it again. So with pasta, you can do that. So if you ever mess up, you can do that. So here's your pasta. We've discovered for this type of pasta, since it's a little bit hearty, 5 is probably the lowest you want to go. I mean the highest you want to go. Because 6, it just gets, it's too thin. So after you get to this point and you're ready to make the pasta, what you do is you take this attachment and then you put it on the other side, the opposite side, and then you decide which one you're going to make. You can see that here that it's either spaghetti or fettuccine. We're going to make fettuccine, so I'm going to put the crank in the fettuccine side. And then all you do is set it there gently and you start cranking. And you'll see that what comes out is your pasta. And it's nice to have someone else's hand at this point to help guide it along, but you'll see it ends up being pasta. So you can see I've placed my pasta on this pan and I've separated them. You want to separate them as much as you can. And once you get a good amount, you can just put these in the water, the boiling water, and just start to boil them. And unlike dry pasta, you don't have to boil it for long because this is pretty fresh. So it will be done in like a matter of 2 minutes. So we have a good amount of pasta. So we can go ahead and just put them in our boiling pot of water. You don't have to do it one at a time, but just, you know, try to keep them separated. And it should just be like 2 minutes and they should be done. Now, the most important things you want to remember, when you get it to this point, you can keep on eating it, but put flour on it. It's okay because it's going to come off when you put it in the pasta, in the water anyway. And once you do it, you start at 1, you always start at 1. And when you do, usually it will get all wrinkly and weird. You want to put a little bit of flour on there, and that's okay. Just do that. And if it ever gets really sticky, just put more flour on because the flour really can't hurt. And then you just go out from there. So there you have it. Go ahead and when you're done, just put it in the pot and it will take about 2 minutes to cook. And there you go. I'm going to also show you how to make ravioli. For making ravioli, you're just going to get pieces that are just like this. And for this recipe, you want to put them in about a 4 because you want them pretty thick. And what happens is, you have this piece of equipment right here. You put a little bit of flour on it, and then you set it up like a layer. So I'm going to just put it right here. And you have this attachment right here. You can come closer if you'd like. And I'm just going to do one side. You put this on there and it makes a divot or a hole for you. You can see there now that there's a hole there. So I'm going to take my filling and I'm just going to place a little dollop in each one, in that little tiny little center. And you don't want to overload it because if you put too much in it, it's going to break. You just put it in that, put a little dollop in there. You can take it off. So we have the inner part there. Let me just lay this on top. And what you actually do is you take one of these rolling pins, put a little bit of flour on there, maybe put a little bit of flour on top, just to make sure it doesn't stick, and you roll it on top. And the spiky part will actually cut and make your ravioli. And when it starts to flip up like that, that's a good sign. You want to make sure you get every angle. And then at this point, I usually just take off the sides, and you can reuse this because with pasta, you can continue reusing. So I just take this off, and then you'll have your little raviolis. And some of them sometimes won't work, but then sometimes you get some that are successful, like this one. And there you go. There's a ravioli.